Hey, what is up guys? What is up YouTube? Ready to take you guys through another chest workout, chest with a little bit of back and a little bit of an update of where I am at the moment. So a lot of people with their chest training have a tendency not to feel it exactly where they want, not to feel it in the chest, and that's got a lot to do with what's happening in their back. Basically is what's happening at their shoulder blades, their ability to retract their shoulder blades and really open up that chest is limited. So what I'm doing here is I'm working the chest at the extreme. So I'm starting with the Pec Deck, and my focus here is to have the tension when the muscle is shortened, so when the pads come together, and the whole time I'm trying to keep my shoulder blades glued to the bench, so there's no movement through the shoulders or any other type of momentum other than just using the chest. And then it's a quick superset straight into a Kettlebell Fly. So this is now going to stretch out the chest, and again focusing on bringing those shoulder blades down and back together into the bench and not coming up all the way. So just getting a big stretch, really just thinking about bringing those shoulder blades together down at the bottom and stretching out the chest as much as possible, and then just coming up until I still have those shoulder blades retracted. And this is going to stretch the chest, and so it's working at the muscle in the shorten range first on the Pec Deck, and then on the lengthen range with the Kettlebell Flies. And with the kettlebells, I prefer them over dumbbells. I just feel it, just the way that the weight takes me down, it's a nicer feeling on the shoulders, and just a more natural sort of stretching feeling on the chest, as you can see here. So getting a big stretch on the chest there. So then it was back to the Pec Deck. So that was just a warm up before. Now sort of working up in weight, and always trying to keep that form nice and tight. And basically what I'm trying to do here is bring my elbows together as much as possible. So keeping my shoulder blades back into the pad, which is not easy. The first thing that you want to do is throw your weight forward when it starts to get hard, but keeping it back and just trying to squeeze those elbows together as much as possible and squeeze the chest. So think about bringing your bicep into your chest and trying to mash it up and squeeze it up as much as possible. So just doing a drop set here, so rather than getting out a few more with sloppy form, just sort of reduce the weight and try and fatigue the muscle even further with a drop set. So this is a bit of an old school Pec Deck. You don't see many of these anymore, where your elbows where the pressure is. So it just takes the forearms and the arm and the biceps out of it a little bit more. So back to Kettlebell Flies again, going up a little bit more in weight, and as you notice, the main thing I'm thinking about is the shoulder blades. So shoulder blades down and back all the way up, even up until the top there. So getting a big stretch, and try not to move the shoulder blades, which is not easy. It's not an easy thing to do, to retract and press your shoulder blades while trying to train chest, but it's something that takes a lot of practice and makes a big difference at the end of the day. So if you're having trouble feeling your chest, that may be your issue, and try and work the muscle at the extremes of the range, and get used to feeling the muscle fully contract and fully stretch. Should help activate more fibers with your chest training. Right, so moving on to more the bread and butter of the workout, where we're starting to press. So I started with flat press today. Generally the flat press, I'm a little bit weaker than the incline, mainly because I can't. It's a little bit harder to keep your scapula stable. So I've had a few shoulder issues in the past, and that was the reason I wasn't controlling my scapula. And from this angle, I'm a little bit weak, but improving all the time. So this is just a warm-up weight with 20 kilos, and I'm going to be supersetting this with some dumbbell rows to try and maximize and take advantage of the time where my chest is resting and get a little bit of extra work done on the opposite muscle, which is the back. So here, the main thing I'm focusing on is trying to lock down, so flexing the abs nice and tight, keeping the pelvis stable, so everything tight, so there's no movement in the lower body, and just focusing on what the shoulder blades are doing. I'm not too concerned with trying to get in close to my body and hit mostly lats. I'm trying to hit sort of mid back here, and just getting some extra work done on what otherwise is just a chest day. So moving up again in weight, this is about 35 kilos. So this is where the weight starts to get a bit challenging for me, and the shoulder that I have problems with had problems with is the left one, but the right one is the one that's sort of giving me troubles now. And you can see in some of these reps it does become a little bit unstable. I remember at the time that I wasn't able to lock down that side, lock down the scapula on that side as good as the left. So that's something that I'm just working on here, is trying to keep that, trying to get a better connection to my scapula and more stability through the chest. So then another superset with the heavier weight. So again, locking down the hips and making sure I flex the abs nice and tight, and then just working through and getting as many reps as I can, and trying to stretch out that back and get it working hard. So this was my heaviest set, and at the moment my heavy working weight is about 45 kilos with the flat press, 45 kilo dumbbells. So I only got 3 reps here, so this is an area that I'll be looking to improve. This is how I sort of gauge my strength, and I want to get this up to about 5 or 6 reps before I move up to a heavier sort of weight. But what you'll notice is that I probably could get one more rep if I broke form a little bit, but it's not the best idea on your shoulders in the long run. So I try and finish just with, if I can't get the full rep, I'll try and get a bit of an isometric contraction down at the bottom, and try and just get a little bit more fibers damaged that way. So then moving on to incline press, and like I said before, I find the incline press a little bit easier because I can stabilize my scapula a lot better on this higher angle, and it's a little bit easier on the shoulders. And but as you can see, I'm using about 25 kilos here. This is just a warm-up weight, but as you can see, I'm getting a big stretch, and I'm aiming for those pecs really high on the chest. So right up near your collarbone is where I'm sort of trying to feel the movement, and then supersetting that with some seated row. And basically here I'm just thinking about what the scapula is doing, so stretching it out and then retracting it as best as possible. So here I want to keep my abs nice and tight, and this core nice and stable. So I want to have a little bit more thoracic mobility, so sort of sitting up as tall as possible, because I have a tendency to slouch in the past because my thoracic's not the best. So that's what I'm working on there, is just keeping everything tight, pulling with that scapula, and then just working up a little bit more weight on the incline. So usually, because I go heavier on the flat press, I'll well, for my last working set on inclines, I'll probably go just 8 to 10 reps, and then superset it with the seated row. And just to finish off the upper chest, I did some dumbbell or kettlebell flies as well, and as you can see, you get a huge stretch with the kettlebells, and aiming really high on that upper chest, keeping everything stable, only going up until I can sort of feel the chest contract enough and the shoulder blades are down and back. I found this very, very effective on getting a big stretch on the upper chest, more so with the kettlebells than with dumbbells. See, as you can see, the weight's taking me right back and stretching me right out. Then to finish up, it was just some dips, just hit the lower chest, and that pretty much wraps up my my chest workout for the day, with a little bit of back. So nice, short and sharp workout. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Just trying to keep grinding away and keep working at the physique. So that wraps up the workout. And I'll just leave it with what I had for my post-workout nutrition here. So I had steak, rice, pineapple, blueberries, tomatoes, and a bit of sauerkraut, and that's a typical sort of post-workout meal. So hopefully catch you guys again soon for another workout video, and please like and subscribe if you like the channel.